Hello, everybody, and welcome to Scanner Monkey TV. Tonight's show is called Optimizing Your Opportunity, and our guest, Joy Williams, is running a little bit behind schedule due to some car trouble. So my name is Cordelia Blake. I am your host, and I also run a group called Scanner Monkey. For those of you who don't know what that is, we are a Amazon sellers resource group. We do not have a guru. We do not have a one thing we endorse. We do not do affiliate marketing. What we do is we help each other. That's our big thing. You have a question, you ask in the group. It's a very positive environment. We work very hard to keep the environment positive. And because we don't do affiliate marketing, we get really good discounts on a lot of products. So for example, Seller Labs new product scope, I think we're getting 50% off the first month. I'm not sure exactly, we're still working that out, but like the Facebook class that I mentioned earlier, we interviewed a Facebook marketing expert last week. She's starting a class in March. She's going to give us 25% off. We have discounts on a lot of courses and conferences. We have discounts on software, TaxJar. I'm totally blanking, but you can see a full list on our website. If you're a member, you can log in and get the discounts. If you're not a member, you don't get the discounts. But really the power of our group is each other. We have such an amazing community, and you can either lurk and get a lot of information that way, or you can really reach out and connect with people. And it's a neat group. So anyway, scannermonkey.com. And if you want to join, I'll even give you a code for a free month, which is Monkey Month, all one word. And that will give you a free month. Joy is in the house. All right, I am promoting her to panelist, if it works. All right, woohoo! Okay, she is talking. Hold on, Joy. All right. Nope. Okay, hold on. Unmute audio. Joy, are you there? Ah, there she is! Yay!
Hi, I made it.
You made it. Thank you so much. How are you doing?
I'm good. A little crazed, a little unforeseen, car trouble. But
did you just run in the house right now?
Yeah, like 5 minutes ago. After being out in the cold and the rain and tow truck and all that good fun stuff. Yeah.
All that life stuff that happens when you're not planning it.
Always.
Well, are you okay? Do you need to go get a drink of water?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, you got your okay.
Ready.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry that you had car trouble, but of course glad that you're okay.
Thanks for having me.
We are excited to talk to you. I am excited to talk to you. I enjoyed talking to you in Chicago. And do you have another light in that room you're in?
I think what it is it's the glare on the picture, and so that's the only overhead light. So I'm just going to take it down real quick. Hold on one second.
Just looking a little post-apocalyptic with the dark circle lines, the shadow.
A little dusty back there.
From the other side.
Is that better?
It's a little bit better. It's all right. It's not your best view, but it's only because of lighting. It's not because you're not beautiful. So
thank you. Yeah, it's an overhead ceiling fan.
It's hard. Lighting is hard.
It is.
I don't know if you can turn up this lighting on your screen, but sometimes that helps too, because you get light from the screen. But anyway, I don't want you to worry about it. I'm just glad you're here. Chris says he thinks you're a ninja. We've got Chris Bond. So tell us what you were up to. Were you outsourcing?
Actually, I had just run to pick my son up from work and bring him home, and voila. I had an issue I knew I needed to take in. It's a recall. My fuel level sensor has gone bad, but it's under a recall from GMC. But if you don't get it done quickly enough, which I didn't, it will cause the whole fuel pump to go out. So I was planning to go in on Tuesday, get that done, and now it's been expedited.
Well, I guess the car was like, it's my turn today.
Yeah.
So we have a mix of people in the audience. It looks like, just from seeing the names, there's some people that I don't know, which is awesome, and some people we do know, which is awesome also. And so glad to have you here. Now, Joy is a member of Scanner Monkey. She is also a lifeguard. I was trying to think of the word, like, blank. A lifeguard, right? Isn't that what it's called? The Thrifting Board, which is an awesome Facebook group that's free.
Yes, we have a sort of a beach theme at the Thrifting Board.
I already told everybody about Scanner Monkey.
So the Thrifting Board is run by Jason T. Smith of Spike TV's Thrift Hunter fame. We are over 20,000 members now, and it's a great group focused on reselling, a lot of focus on vintage, but, also Amazon, anywhere you can sell, eBay, Amazon, OfferUp, Bonanza, Etsy. If you're selling it, we're helping you do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a great community, and I love it when people post like weird things that they have no idea what they are. They're like, I did all this research, I can't figure this out. Who knows what this is? And like 5 seconds later, there's like 50 people that are like, oh, this is this thing, and everybody knows what it is. It's fascinating. So it's a great,
hands down, the best place to find out what this weird thing is.
Absolutely. So what does that mean that you're a lifeguard there? What do you do? Do you make sure people don't go crazy on the board?
So we call our admin staff lifeguards. And so, we try to guide people, to follow the rules and keep the group running. And of course, always deal with the never-ending internet spam. We try to always, welcome the new members. We have a huge resource library in the file section of our group, and it's everything from shipping tips to, what's a disinfection certification form when I want to ship clothing internationally. I can't really think of any problem that anybody's ever had that nobody in the group knew how to solve. So it's a fantastic resource for sellers on every platform.
It is. So that's the Thrifting Board, and that is, there's a link in the chat. So tell us, how did you start selling online? Would you mind telling us that story? Like, that was what, 5-6 years ago?
I started selling seriously online in 2012. I had sold on eBay, over the years when my kids were little, various things. And, but I started really selling full-time. Well, I say full-time. People always ask, are you a full-time seller or you're not a full-time seller? Which kind of always bugged me because I did have a full-time job, full-time plus job, but I also put full-time hours into my online business. Yeah. So I think there's a huge group of people who do that as well, that really are full-time sellers, even though they have a full-time job. So I had a friend, I was a big couponer. And I had a friend in a coupon group.
Did you have like that giant binder filled with coupons?
No, because we used a clipless system. There's actually an online website called Coupon Tom that'll tell you which insert your coupon is in. And so we would just keep them kind of in a milk crate, and they would be in hanging files, and you'd write the date on the front of it. And so when you knew what you were going to buy, you would just clip them. So I wasn't the big binder lady, but I did have a big stockpile. And that's kind of the very first thing I sold on eBay when I started selling seriously, in 2012. Was, my friend Kathy, she said, you and my other friend Christine, you guys should do this. She was selling on eBay and Amazon. She said, just go look in your stockpile and look them up on eBay. And this was kind of right before I started Amazon. And I had these Glade, several times a year, will put out limited edition scented candles, and people are crazy for them, especially the Christmas ones. So I had this huge box of these limited edition candles that I had gotten free with coupons. And I looked them up, and one of the ones I had, Glade Sugar Plum Fairy, was selling 2 little 2-ounce candles, 2 for $40. And I had a huge box of them in my basement. And I think I sold all of them in the first 2 days that they were up. because they were about a year and a half old at that point. And so I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. I could do this. And she said, I buy a lot of discontinued items and I sell them. So my eBay business really started with retail arbitrage. It was 100% retail arbitrage until my friend Christine said, hey, I joined this group. There's this guy, Jason, who's on TV, and you should join the group. And so that's when the vintage started, maybe 2 years ago now. But I was selling limited edition makeup.
You were doing new first, and then you moved into the vintage.
Yes. I was doing 100% retail arbitrage, limited edition makeup, discontinued.
And were you couponing all of that, or kind of like a mix?
Kind of a mix. It was kind of a mix. The majority of it, even when I started selling on Amazon, the majority of that was coupon deals. The first year I sold on Amazon, my revenue was $60,000 gross revenue. All of the stuff that I sold on Amazon, I got free with coupons and register rewards deals at Walgreens and paid tax for. And so I did that for probably the first year and a half until the coupon game started to change, And so that's also what I did on eBay. The limited edition Oreos and the Pringles and all that good fun stuff that comes out every year. And the vintage came later.
So you basically had zero investment of dollars. You had a lot of investment of time, and you just sold everything. That's amazing.
It's funny, on my Facebook, I have a photo album of my coupon hauls, because just like thrifters do hauls, couponers do hauls, and we love to share them on the internet. And I have a picture of that Glade, one of my Glade hauls that I had. And I think I looked at it the other day. I think I maybe paid 21 cents in tax for this huge pile of Glade. So that's really how people say, well, I don't have any money. I can't start selling. And they might not have a stockpile, but they probably have something in their house. An old vase they don't like anyway, old textbooks from college. You really can do it.
Yeah, you know what? I also see usually the day before trash day, everybody puts out their furniture that they're getting rid of. And you see people drive through in their pickup trucks, our neighborhood, and they just pick up. I mean, I saw somebody the other day leaving the neighborhood, his pickup truck was filled with stuff that he had found in our neighborhood for free that I knew he was going to turn around and sell. So it's hard. I mean, when you don't have money to spend, you have to spend time.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if you only have $10 to your name, do it. Last day of a garage sale, it doesn't hurt to ask, what's the best you can do for all of this? They don't want to put that stuff back in their house. A lot of times, we hear stories in our group all the time about people who they go to a garage sale the last half hour and they're like, take whatever you want, just get it out of here, haul it away.
It's true. And in fact, a friend of mine owns a store in Atlanta called the Treasure Mart, which is like a consignment place. It's kind of like a thrift store, but it's consignment. So it's a little more nicer stuff. But there's a rotation of stuff, right? So you have the new stuff, and then the stuff that's sitting there, and each month it goes down 10%. And so if something's been there for 6 months, a lot of times it costs less than $1. And then eventually it's gone, she gives it away. And it's all stuff that was originally bought for consignment. And there is a person who basically just comes and takes away the boxes and boxes and boxes of the free stuff that she can't sell, and they flip it on eBay or whatever their channels are, and so there are places like that too that you just say, all right, I just want the stuff you can't sell, and probably maybe half of that is junk you throw out. And yard sales, you can also sometimes, if it's from 7 to 2, you drive by at 2:15 and they've put it all out for the trash.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, when you're starting out and you don't have any money, especially as a female seller, I would say that if you are a female and you say that you don't have anything to sell, I would tell you to open your closet, because I don't know any women who do not have a group of clothing or shoes that they can't or won't wear anymore. Somebody wants it.
They either used to fit it, they're waiting it fits, it fit in college, whatever it is. We all have
I probably have 40 pairs of jeans that don't fit, but I'm sure they will again someday. I mean, I could probably sell them, even if I only made $10 a piece on eBay. I don't know why I don't just do that, but there are ways, and there are plenty of There's YouTube videos and there's so much information on the internet that if you really want to, I call it growing your snowball or rolling your snowball. If you really want to roll that snowball, there are plenty of resources where people will give you ideas of things to sell and where to get them.
Yeah, and there's so let's talk a little bit about marketplaces. So you sell on eBay, you sell on Amazon. Do you sell on any other marketplaces?
Right now I sell on eBay and Amazon. I do have a merch account. I don't do nearly enough with it. I used to sell on Etsy. I have things up on the Facebook Marketplace, which I have not personally had a lot of success with, OfferUp and Bonanza and all that. But I was getting to a point where it was like I was, doing all of these things, and I wasn't particularly maybe doing all of them well enough. I felt, and I was still working then, and I said, Etsy wasn't really my jam. I sold some sewing patterns on there and some other vintage things, but it didn't feel like home to me the way that eBay and Amazon do. And so I realized that I was spending too much time trying to make things work that weren't working for me, and so I just cut them out.
That's really good.
Primarily Amazon right now.
Because it's like right now, like for example, I've been trying to work merch. So every day I get on there, I come up with some designs. I've made a total of like 30, like I just got to pay out of $30.
Well, you got me beaten. I've sold shirts.
And I'm just like, at what, it's hard to know sometimes when you're like, okay, I'm learning, I'm investing in my future of learning or whatever, or am I just wasting my time? And it's not always clear and when to cut it off. And, for me, like I try to set like either a deadline of time or like, well, when I list, like 150 items, and if I've only made $20, then it's time for me to move on to greener pastures. Cause I'm making way more than that selling on Amazon, products, but I'm trying to learn about digital inventory, but it's hard. But Etsy, we just did a show with Margaret Collier and Kathy Terrell a couple weeks ago about Etsy, and they were talking about vintage sewing patterns, vintage clothing, which I didn't know you could sell that on Etsy, and like how you can take like the buttons off a sweater and sell that on Etsy as like a crafting supply or whatever. So, but any marketplace, you have to learn the rules and what sells and how to write your listings because it's different on all of them, how to take your photographs. And so there is this point where you need to like be like, all right, I'm done. This is no longer worth my time.
And I apply that same principle to my social media in promoting my business. In the Thrifting Board, we have a big focus on social media. We do a Pinterest sharing thread every day. We've done tutorials to teach people how to use Pinterest for their business. And I use it not just for eBay, but for Amazon, even for retail arbitrage items, which I know a lot of people don't do. But I was also doing Twitter and Instagram. I don't like Twitter. It's not my thing. I didn't like Instagram. It wasn't my thing. And it just became a time suck where I'm spending all this time trying to build up this platform that isn't really working for me, and I wasn't seeing the benefits. So I just cut it out.
Mm-hmm.
That so time.
I know you guys do all the Pinterest stuff. Do you actually make money off your promotions on Pinterest?
I don't. Let me see where we're going here. I lost you. I don't make, so there we are. I don't make like ad money on Pinterest, but I do see sales on my eBay things. There's absolutely a correlation between me pinning them and them selling. Okay. And I do use Pinterest for Amazon retail arbitrage items, which I know a lot of people don't do. And the reason that I do it is the way that I do my Pinterest boards is I don't just put up, this is my eBay stuff and this is my Amazon stuff. I try to mix those links into organic boards, so people don't feel like I'm selling to them. Even though there are studies that say 70% of Pinterest users look to Pinterest for inspiration for things to buy. So the way that I use Pinterest with the retail arbitrage is to combat the bottom feeders, the ones who go in and cut the price. It's particularly useful, I think, for clothing and shoes items because women love to pin clothing on Pinterest. So if you find this great blue sweater and it's selling for $50 and you bought it for $10, and by the time it gets to warehouse, somebody's selling it for $19.
Right.
So what I do is I will mix into my Pinterest boards for clothing, and sometimes, depending on the item, I might create a board and build it around it, because I feel like the Pinterest algorithm and the Amazon algorithm do a little tango. What happens is, if it's a good item, and you have a lot of options to pin. So when somebody goes to Pinterest and they say, I want a blue sweater, your pin is going to come up because it's so frequently pinned. So what happens is 70% of those people are going to buy that sweater. So now when they go over to Amazon, they buy that sweater, and they buy that sweater, and the rank continues to drop. And even though you don't have the buy box, the rank is getting better and better on that item. So when you are now the last person standing at the $50 sweater, those Pinterest people who see that blue sweater don't know these other people paid $19. So you've used the bottom feeders to increase, decrease as it was, but to improve the rank of that item. So when somebody types in blue sweater on Amazon, your sweater is going to pop up. And so that's how I use Pinterest for retail arbitrage items, because I'm pushing those bottom feeders sales. I'm going to get them off the listing faster. And by the time my number comes up, there's a better rank and there's a better price.
Interesting. That's a very interesting strategy. I really haven't spent a lot of time on Pinterest marketing. I am an avid kind of Pinterest user, but I don't really use it for business. So you can also, you can do it anywhere. If you're on top of your pricing, you can do the same thing by cutting your price way low, but cutting it so low that it won't sell. So like if people are down at $19, you take it down to $14.99. And then when they follow you down, you go down lower. And so you say, and then at some point, if the buy box is like hovering around $17 and your price at $13, they're keeping their price down because of you, but you're not selling because you don't have the buy box. And then when the rank goes down, and then you can raise your price again. But it's a little risky because you might sell it at that low price, but kind of depends on the. So I love your Pinterest idea for doing that, for getting rid of the bottom feeders. So we have a question, and it's kind of a loaded, I'm going to say it's kind of a loaded question only because of the Amazon environment right now. The question is, I'm just learning arbitrage. What would you recommend as far as items and stores?
I would tell you, because most people, I was grandfathered into grocery and health and beauty, so I didn't have to go through the ungating process. Yeah, one of the things that one of the best pieces, and I was selling on Amazon for a few years before I read Chris Green's books. And in Chris Green's book, he says, stay away from sexy. And I do try to stay away from sexy. I make a lot of money on Amazon selling things like cleaning products, grocery, but as a new person, you can't do that. I tell people to think about the things that they and their friends buy on Amazon all the time. And a lot of times it's necessities. It's the convenience of, it's Saturday morning, I want to mop the floor, I don't have any Mr. Clean, for example. I'm not saying go sell Mr. Clean. But there are a lot of products out there that the companies do not care that you're selling their product on Amazon. I had a grocery item that was discontinued. Discontinued grocery can be, if you get ungated in grocery, you are ungated in grocery, can be a gold mine. People get very attached, like their personal care items, their shampoo or their lipstick, they get very attached to certain back. Weiler's beef bouillon granules, like the cubes, but they are granules, like the consistency of dehydrated coffee. And it was a tip from another seller. Big Lots got them and was selling them for 80 cents a jar. And a couple years ago, I now have a partner in Amazon who has taken to it like a duck to water. And my partner found a massive amount of these. The dates were good. We're buying them for 80 cents a jar and selling them 2 jars for $39.99, like they were going out of style. The same is true for cleaning products. If you have a cleaning machine or some sort of household gadget that comes with a refill, and companies put them out all the time, Swiffer, for example. You need that refill to run that machine. when they stop selling those refills, people's favorite mop is still sitting there. And the Clorox Ready Mop is an example. Also an item I sold, if you can find it, get out there and look for Clorox Ready Mop, the refills. I found them at a liquidating, store for $1 or $2 a bottle, sold them for $20 a bottle all day long. These are kinds of items that are low risk. You don't have to worry that the manufacturer is going to claim that you're violating their intellectual property. So in the beginning, I say stay away from sexy. Go for everyday products. The other thing that I would say is, the other thing about things like the granules or the Ready Mop, if you go and read reviews on a product that you've bought that is a discontinued thing, and people are all upset in reviews it's been discontinued, people will start to say in the reviews, I've started using XYZ instead. If you're quick and you're early, go get on the XYZ listing. If people are buying one kind of gluten-free crackers, say, and they stop making them, and they'll start to talk amongst themselves in the review and say, these are as close as I could find to them. Your buyer's telling you what they want you to sell them. And so I do spend time doing a little bit of that.
That is a very good tip. So if there's a discontinued item, look in the reviews and see what people are substituting and sell that as well.
Absolutely.
So here's what I would say is that retail arbitrage is a very tough game now. The people I know who are doing very well in it have done it for a while. They understand the risks involved. Amazon is changing the rules literally every day. Mm-hmm. And so 2 years ago, when somebody came to me and they were like, oh, I want to sell online, I was like, oh, you should totally sell on Amazon. Now I'm like, I don't know. The arbitrage, it's a very risky business. There's a lot of people getting suspended. I know one seller who he just keeps a couple grand in the bank all the time to get himself unsuspended when he gets suspended. So he's built that into his business model, is having a couple extra $1,000 available to get himself out of suspension from a suspension service provider. I love Cynthia Stein. I think she's great. Other people love other people, but there you go. But I mean, the point is that, I've actually stopped doing arbitrage altogether, because every time I see something good, I think, is this worth losing my account over? And I just can't bring myself to do it. But I know lots of people who still do it. But if you're starting out, first of all, clothing, shoes, socks, those categories are very easy to get into. They're kind of like the grocery for us. When I first started selling grocery, it wasn't even a gated category at the time. You just could sell in grocery. They eventually gated it, and then we were grandfathered in. But look to automotive. That's a very easy category to get into, and people it's not as controversial. So, but it's hard. Like, it's a harder business. If you want to do treasure hunting and find deals, I think eBay, this is one of my questions on my list for you, is kind of like, in light of challenges on Amazon, are you seeing a resurgence in eBay sellers?
It's funny because well, a couple thoughts. Well, one, I think that there are still places to get into the market in areas that there have been suspensions. If you're staying away from sexy, I've sold a ton of clothing. I've sold shoes. I don't touch Nike. I don't touch things that I know, and that is the value of belonging to a seller network on Facebook in particular. Is I've had things even in the last couple of months, hot diggity Mickey, where if it weren't for the network, I would not have known that people were getting suspended, and I couldn't race to remove things from my inventory. But there are plenty of jeans that sell and shoes that sell that are not big sexy brands. So low risk. And I think that the fear of getting suspended is tough for a lot of people, and it's got a lot of people stuck at the starting gate. And I think my perspective is different, having what happened to me this last year with my job. That came out of nowhere. I mean, I could not have predicted that would be the company closed down and declared bankruptcy. It was very sudden. It wasn't mismanagement of funds or anything like that. I can't. I'm actually working as an operating consultant for the bankruptcy trustee, so I can't say what it was, but it was something that was one isolated person did something that they shouldn't have, and it took the whole company down. And I had given 6 hard years of my life to that company, and it was over just like that. So I'm still here. Like, my lights are still on. I'm, that kind of thing. And so we all had a life, and we all had a revenue stream before we became Amazon sellers. And if something happens to us, as horrible as it would be, we will have lives again. We will have income streams again. But I think, on the other hand, it's good to have that little bit of fear, because it keeps us on our toes. Are we doing everything the way that we should be doing it? Are we all the time adhering to the best practices? I was buying things from a discount store. Their receipts would not pass muster. Everything is general merchandise. There's no UPC. There's no nothing. It was a great resource for me. And I have had to take a hard line with myself and my partner and say, we can't, under any circumstances, buy from this anymore. They have indefensible receipts. So I think it's okay to visit that fear. Just don't move in with it, And if you're doing everything you can do and it happens to you, life is unfair and you will survive it. And so I'm not letting it hold me back. I'm just doing things a little bit differently and trying to keep up with the things that are getting people in trouble. But it's funny, because 6 months ago, 9, 12 months ago, you would have heard a lot of Amazon sellers poo-pooing eBay. That's where losers sell and it's junk. And now it's like, well, I'll just take my $200,000 of inventory and sell it on eBay. Like, eBay's gotten a brand new respect now from the Amazon sellers who are concerned about suspension. And to eBay's credit, they've made a lot of changes in this past year that allow people to run a more organized and knowledgeable business. Their seller hub, their reporting features. PayPal has also made some changes that make it a lot easier from an accounting standpoint for people to know if they're really making money. So, I think that people are turning back to eBay, which I don't know why they turned away from it, because there are still people who will not buy on Amazon. I buy way more, even as an Amazon seller, I buy way more on eBay than Amazon. I probably ordered from Amazon in the last 8 years 12 times.
Oh my gosh.
For personal use. I mean, I buy shipping supplies and stuff there, but it's just not my personal marketplace.
My 6-year-old did his birthday party wish list as an Amazon wish list. We are such an Amazon family. So
I'm getting to be a little bit more, but it's not the first place I run to. I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is, but so for me, I never thought that eBay was a bad marketplace. I know people are like, well, there's bad sellers. There's bad sellers everywhere. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. And I like, to be honest, I feel like some of these changes will re-elevate the Amazon platform. Because I know people love to say, oh, it's the Chinese sellers. It's not just the Chinese sellers. We had bad stateside sellers. They were buying their stuff from the back of a truck and this and that, so they helped sort of put the bad things out there that we're seeing in the press. And so I do think that some of these barriers to entry and some of these changes are helping to re-elevate the platform. So I don't think it's all bad.
I don't think it's all bad either. I do think that going into a new Amazon business now is a different game than it was, a couple of years ago. So I think that, going in and being like, oh, I'm just going to do arbitrage, I'm just going to make some money. You definitely have to pay attention, be aware, and whether you diversify by selling in different categories or you diversify by selling across marketplaces, I think it's important to you have to be a lot more knowledgeable than I think you used to have to be.
Oh, I totally agree. And, I feel like it's easier now. I mean, when I first started selling, I don't know when Amazon came out, the Amazon app. If it existed when I first started selling, I did not know about it. We planned ahead. We went home and looked things up online, and we had to, you really had to dig in and plan, and you couldn't just walk in any store. You could say, oh, I think maybe, but you still had to look it up, and so I think it is harder, but I don't think that for someone who really wants to grow it as a business, that it's impossible. I think for someone who, and we see them in all the groups, they don't want to read the rules. They don't want to watch the videos. They don't want to know what they're signing on for. They just want to put something up on Amazon and have someone give them money for it.
Yes.
I don't really think, personally, people are going to hate that I say this. I don't think the marketplace needs those sellers on Amazon. I just don't. I mean, they are going to be the ones who are going to put something up that they say is new and it's used, and they ruin the reputation of Amazon for the rest of us. I feel that way about eBay too. If you don't want to be a real seller, don't take the rest of us down with you with your bad practices.
I think that's a really good point. And usually I think we're preaching to the converted, like, you know, hopefully the people in our communities are doing best practices. And so, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I've ordered stuff and I'm like, what the heck is this? I've seen horrible listings. So yeah, I think definitely you can sell online, but the risk level and kind of like the knowledge level is a lot higher now than it was a couple years ago.
And the one thing I do, I was going to say, just real quick, go back to your question for 1 second. The one thing I also tell people to do, especially if they're newer or if they're super concerned about suspension, is if you don't already have one, open an eBay account. If you're not using it, I use Joe Lister to cross-post my Amazon stuff to eBay. Now, I had an existing eBay business, so if Amazon had dried up, I would have been okay. But for someone who had never sold on eBay, who might have a greater volume of inventory to deal with if something happened to their Amazon account, you want to be an established eBay seller. And quite frankly, it couldn't be easier. It could not be easier to use Joe Lister and have Amazon ship your stuff. Is fantastic. I love it when my eBay app cha-chings and I look at it and I go, I don't have to pack that. You know, so you have to look ahead and plan for the worst to happen. You got to have a backup plan.
Yeah, so we have, just so you know, if you're a member of Scanner Monkey, normally when you sign up for Joe Lister, you get 2 free listings. If you are a Scanner Monkey member, you get 10 free listings. So it really gives you a good chance to try it out for free before you decide to pay the monthly fee. And you can just do 10 listings forever for free. But I think that's a great option. Although I really didn't find personally that I got a lot of eBay traction until I started actually hand doing my eBay listings. But maybe that's just because of the stuff I sell. I had to customize so much on the listings. It's almost not worth it for me to use something like Joe Lister, but that's also because I don't have a lot of SKUs. I have more inventory of a few SKUs, so I can set up the listings in eBay and then I can do my own MCF if I have to.
For me, so, I don't tweak them at the Joe Lister side. I let them all go live as is, and then I edit them from the eBay app. You can rearrange those pictures. You can change your title. You can just, do it that way. And so one of the things that drives me crazy about Amazon listings when they come over through Joe Lister is a lot of times like dolls will be just the doll. People on eBay want to see that it's in the box and the pictures are out of order for eBay. And so I'll just let everything go over there because it's faster. And when I'm sitting in line or, laying in bed at night, I'll just go in and edit those listings and move things around when I have time.
Okay. The other thing I found with Joe Lister is for clothing. It really didn't, because eBay actually is better. The eBay listings in a way are better for clothing than the Amazon are. They have more fields for like the brand and the size. And so it's a little bit more standardized than the Amazon listing is. And so none of that comes over. So you have to go in and do all that for your clothing. And that's mostly what I sell. So, but
I agree with you. I end up hiding a lot of my clothes.
eBay. And I mean, I know people who hire a VA to just put all their eBay stuff on Etsy, everything that qualifies. Like the more marketplaces you're on, the better.
Absolutely. Although that is why I had to stop using Bonanza, because Bonanza was importing my Amazon listings via eBay. So somebody would sell on Bonanza, but then how does it ship? And nobody could tell me how it works, so I just stopped using Bonanza.
Okay. Now, what about, have you dabbled at all in ThreadUp or Swap?
Well, I'm actually I was just talking to my friend Christine about Swap, and I'm going to be, because I hate to do clothes. Like, I love helping, in the group with vintage, and, I kind of specialize in vintage Levi's information. But as an eBay seller, I hate to sell clothes. I don't want to take pictures of them. I don't want to measure them. I don't want to do any of that. And I don't want to store them. And so it has to be a really great item for me to buy clothing. But I pass on a lot of great stuff. So I'm going to get into just gathering it all up and sending it to Swap. If it sells, fantastic. Even if the profit isn't enormous, they're going to take whatever their cut is, and that's fine. But it's out of my house. It's a little bit, it's like, FBA for clothes. It is out of my house, and I don't have to deal with it. And I can sell more clothes because there is money in selling clothes, new or old. But I don't like, and in fact, I've cut back on the clothes on Amazon because of the prep. I can prep probably 3 times as many items that don't have to be prepped the way that clothing needs to be prepped. And so I kind of moved away from that because it was just taking so much time.
That's interesting because I feel like I can get, I sent in a box of clothing yesterday. It was 1 box. That will be $600 of profit on 1 box. Whereas, for me to send in toys or some of the housewares to get that same amount of profit would have been way more boxes. So I love selling clothes on Amazon, but I have dabbled in Swap, and I think it's interesting. I love it as a customer. I think the shopping experience is way better than eBay for clothing. If you're looking for stuff to wear today, that's today's clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking for 1973 vintage, then it is not the marketplace.
Yeah.
You're just like I just bought a designer dress on there that's $125 dress I got for $25.
Oh, nice.
And and then I got 3 other designer shirts with it, and it all shipped to my house in 1 box. It was all consistent packaging. So it's almost the Amazon of you stuff. So I think it's an interesting marketplace. As a seller, you definitely, the profits are not as high as eBay. I think probably a smart eBay seller could probably flip stuff off of Swap onto eBay. But you don't do anything. I mean, you literally shove as much stuff into a box as you can. They give you the maximum dimensions of the box that you're allowed to ship in. You get that size box and you put as much stuff in there as you can. It's a flat shipping rate, so it doesn't matter how heavy it is, as long as it fits in that box. And then they do the listings, they measure it, they put it on the mannequin, they do all of that. So it's an interesting marketplace. I just sold a $10 item. I'll make $5.50 off of it. So, it's less than eBay, more than Amazon, so it's kind of, and it has to be contemporary stuff. It has to be stuff that people want to buy now. It's not stuff that's kind of out of fashion or whatever, or vintage.
Because there's a lot of stuff I see that's new with the tags at the thrift store, and for whatever reason, this new jacket, which could easily sell on eBay, for $60 or whatever, is $2.99. The reseller in me knows that I should buy it and take it home and measure it and take pictures of it and put it on eBay. I don't want to. But for me, looking at Swap, I think that the low amount of work that would be required to flip some of that stuff, even for a smaller profit, to me, all profit is good profit. I mean, if I'm the choice between not selling it all because I don't want to put it on eBay because, it's not something I enjoy doing with the clothing, versus making some profit and having somebody else do the work, is worth it to me.
So we have a question. Would you recommend doing arbitrage on Swap with clothes? So I think what he means is buying stuff new in store and then selling it on Swap? Or do you mean buying it on Swap and selling it on eBay? So I'm not sure if I understand the question. I would say that Swap, the first box of stuff I sent into Swap, half of it got rejected. They're very picky about what they'll take. But most of their stuff, I did pay $25 for that designer dress. It's an expensive, brand new. It didn't have tags on it, but it looks brand new. I looked on the website for the company and I priced it on the website, and then I was like, all right, I'll $25 for it. But I mean, that is the exception rather than the rule. Most of the clothes on Swap that I see are under $15. So even if you're only paying, let's say you pay $1 for something or $2 and you sell it for 10, you're making $5.50. So you're only making $3 an item. So I don't know. I think you could probably do, like, if, you know, you're like, I did 75% off at the thrift store and sent stuff in from there. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know that I would.
Yeah, if you're finding those kinds of deals, or if you are just getting started, you know, there's an idea for people who have a ton of clothes. Like I said, most women probably do. You have a ton of clothes, you're not wearing them. Maybe you know, your company just closed down and you don't need your suits anymore. Put them in a box, send them to Swap. Whatever if you're not truly going to wear them again, whatever you get for them, they're out of your house and you've made a little bit of money.
And the nice thing about Swap too that I like is they just dump it in your PayPal account. Like they do it. It's so simple to get paid out from them. But Carol asks, is it for adult clothing or all ages? It's for all ages. But definitely the adult clothing sells for more money than the kids clothing does. So you just have to do research. It's like any other, like we were saying before, you know, your marketplace and kind of like learn what it's like. But ThredUp is similar to Swap in that you send the stuff in and they list it, but they are really set up for like the home seller. They're not really set up for like professional sellers. I don't know anything about furs. You have to check. Carol asked if you can do furs. I don't know. There is no cost to join Swap. The only thing you pay is the shipping to send your stuff in, and I can't remember exactly. I did a blog post on it, but I want to say it's $12 a box. It's something like that. They give you a flat rate, and you have the maximum dimensions, and that's that. So that's Swap. But let's get back to Joy here. Joy, if you were advising somebody who was selling really well, like who wanted to really kill it on eBay, what would you say? What advice would you give?
Somebody who wants to kill it on eBay. You know, to be honest with you, pictures are everything for starters. And as you probably noticed, my house is like a cave. This is something I struggle with, and people who look at my eBay listings are like, really? She's a lifeguard? Because her pictures are terrible. I mean, you can tell the stuff that is in my house versus the stuff that is in Amazon, and it's something I'm always trying to work on. So I would say when you get a couple of bucks, you know, even if you just buy a little $20 lighting setup, if you don't have good lighting at your house, invest in that. You don't have to invest in a big fancy camera if you don't want to. I've always taken all of my pictures with my phone. I do think that there is a lot of opportunity for arbitrage on eBay. I love vintage and I love helping the vintage group, but I don't always find enough scores in the vintage world to sustain the business. Whereas there is a lot of opportunity with arbitrage, and clothing is an area where there is a lot of opportunity for clothing, baby clothes in particular, and especially holiday clothes. And people will say, oh, I wouldn't buy anything at Walmart for resale. Well, there are certain things at Walmart that sell, and there are ways to create listings with things you got cheap. So regularly after, you know, the holidays, Walmart will put their little boy and little baby boy, toddler size suits and vests and pants and little bow ties that didn't sell for the holiday, the dress up clothes. They'll clear them out for $1. You can put those on eBay and sell them for Easter outfits for little boys, and, you know, sell them all day long, because moms know that they're going to wear it one time. So if you're picking it up for $1 and you're selling it for, you know, $15 or whatever, $18, they're going to ship first class because they're super light. They're little baby clothes, you know, unless you're selling them is a lot. And you put them up there with the right keywords, and people are looking for an Easter outfit for a little boy, boom, you have a sale. The same is true for women's clothes. There is not a store that I can think of that doesn't have a clearance sale going on 90% of the time. There are people who absolutely kill it on Kohl's clearance, especially if you have a Kohl's card. So, you know, you're constantly getting discounts from Kohl's, and you get Kohl's Cash, and you work that whole angle where, you know, sweaters and jeans and socks and slippers and pretty much any kind of clothing, you know, bras. There's a market for Nula tags on eBay that you got super cheap on clearance. And you don't have to be picky about it because you're not looking for yourself. So if you start to turn to those clearance racks and look at them specifically for things that you think that might be good for resale. So there is a market for clearance finds and, you know, discount deals on eBay, for sure.
That's a great tip. I just posted that in the group. That's a great bolo, because the only thing with eBay, though, is it's got to be hard. I mean, I know my like teeny little eBay business, I'm already like, there's stuff in my house. Like, how do you manage the stuff? Like, if you go
to be honest
out
with
of
you,
dollar suits, what you're gonna dollar little boy suits, you're gonna have to store them in a crate.
So in the past sort of year and a half, I have cut back on the number of listings I have on eBay that are in my house. Space-wise, my son, you know, came back home to live, so I had to give him his bedroom back. I had to get all my eBay stuff out of there. And, you know, we live in a condo. It's not huge. And I have what I call the closet of shame, which is our big hall closet that I had just jammed. You couldn't have opened anything, any kind of hiding space in my house that didn't have eBay inventory in it. You know, coffee mugs, I have a chest, like a, you know, like steamer kind of trunk in my bedroom. It's filled with like coffee mugs and things like that. Well, not now, because after a year, it goes. Sometimes not even a year. If I look at something, I'm like, this was a loss. I redonated. I just sort of cut bait with things. And so that's when I sort of went back to more of my retail arbitrage roots, because it's based on space. And I was still working. And, you know, I always offered one-day handling. So if I heard the eBay app go off at 2 o'clock in the morning, I got up and packed that order, and it went to work with me the next day so that I could get it out in time. And I didn't want to live that way. So it is going to be about your space. But I will say that in almost any town, in any state, you can get a storage unit for under $100 a month. So if you're organized and you know, have a system for inventory, you don't necessarily have to have that stuff in your house. If you have a big basement or a garage no one's using and you have the space, then by all means. I don't have the space, and I became overwhelmed by the stuff in my house. So, which is again where my Amazon, eBay, you know, Joe Lister relationship comes from, is I can still have, you know, at Christmas I had like 250 eBay listings. I bet you 15 of them were in my house and everything else was at Amazon. And so, you know, it's about space. Clothing can be, you know, polybagged, and you can really, there's a million ways to organize eBay inventory. There's a lot of tips on Facebook and things like that. So it's just a matter of what your personal space looks like, and if you are in a position to have that kind of inventory. But clothing, especially for little kids, fits very nicely in polybags and those into Rubbermaid totes or bins, and you can stack those up in, you know, a closet, your basement, the garage, that kind of thing. eBay is a volume, you know, to unless you're buying things that are vintage, that are selling for a lot of money, or you're selling a lot of high-end things for a lot of money, it can be sort of a volume game to make, you know, really good money. And I just don't really live in an area where I'm finding really fantastic pottery and china and, you know, flatware that I can sell for a lot of money. And so for me, it's more of a retail arbitrage setup with a little vintage.
That's a really good point. You don't hear a lot of people talk about doing retail arbitrage for eBay on purpose. Like a lot of times it's like, well, I couldn't sell it on Amazon, so I'm selling on an eBay, but it's like really you're just kind of going after eBay as the marketplace.
And for me, even in the years where I wasn't really paying attention to my online business, you know, there have been a couple of years where it's like I was so busy with my regular job that it was just like, I just can't. But even in those years doing retail arbitrage, I never sold less than $20,000 a year. I mean, that's money, you know. I'll take money, especially if somebody is just like, well, I just want to do a little bit. I find that retail arbitrage stuff moves a little bit faster than, you know, other things might sit. So, you're getting it out of your house faster. It's more readily available. If you're not garage sailing in Chicago in the middle of winter. Yes, we have the thrift stores, but so do all of our competitors. So, there's opportunity everywhere in terms of arbitrage for eBay.
I love it. I love that tip. So what about, and you don't have to worry so much, like if you find Superman sneakers on clearance at Walmart, that's something like I would say don't sell that on Amazon. Like, because you don't,
Right.
we're not, if somebody claims that it is inauthentic, blah, 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 your account is suspended. But you don't, as long as you got them from Walmart, they're legit, you can sell them on eBay and you're probably going to be fine.
And
So
distressed packaging is another thing. I sell a lot of things with shelfware or otherwise distressed packaging. There was a Walmart that went out of business here in October and just went in there, kind of cleaned house for Amazon, but there were things that weren't suitable for Amazon that would still sell for, I bought some, was it Lord of the Rings, maybe, Legos? The packaging was terrible, but I knew based on the price on Amazon that this was a good Lego find. And so I didn't leave it behind, and I put it on eBay, I always put it in the title. I try to put it everywhere that I can. I put it in the title, and they say, oh, don't use caps. For me personally, sorry, I use caps to say in distressed packaging at the end of the title. Or box has shelfware. People still buy those things, especially if they can get them at a little bit of a discount. And so if you have things you bought for Amazon or wanted to buy for Amazon, and it's a good seller, has distressed packaging, put it on eBay. I do it all the time. And so there's opportunity there where what you find maybe isn't good enough for Amazon, but it's a moneymaker. Take it over to eBay. People are willing to pay those prices,
Do you have any shipping tips for eBay, like in terms of organizing the shipping process?
Oh my God. My biggest tip is to learn how to ship properly before you dive into it. Like, to be honest with you, I am, well, not so much now that Jason has fixed me, but I came into the thrifting board a terrible shipper. And even maybe 2 years ago, I think I guest hosted with Jay and Nadine on their show, Thrifty Business with Jay and my shipping tip was exactly that, which is learn to be a good shipper. I was always the person who would say, oh, I think this is what it's going to fit in this box and it's going to weigh this much. And I would sort of estimate it. And I usually do everything with free shipping. And I was continuously losing my, arse, so to speak, on shipping because I wasn't setting my listings up properly. I didn't know what items weighed when I listed them, and I would try to eyeball them, and I'd be at the all-night Walmart buying a box because it didn't fit in the box that I thought it was going to. Learn about regional boxes. I never knew about regional boxes until Jason taught me. A regional A box ships at the 2-pound rate. So if I'm shipping 5 pounds worth of something that will fit in a regional A box to California, it's still shipping at the 2-pound rate. And then there's a regional B box. And each of them has 2 different shaped boxes. One's a side loader and one's a top loader. The regional B is a 4-pound. So you could ship an 8-pound item in there across the country at the 4-pound rate. So they do have a limit. I think maybe it's 20 pounds on the regional A, but it's shipping at that 2-pound rate if it fits in there. And so that is, if you can make that item fit, that's the most economical way to get a heavier item across the country. And you have to order those boxes free from UPS or from the USPS, and they'll bring them right to your house. And that's true for priority padded flat rates, which isn't an option on Amazon. I wish that it was, but on eBay, you can put a million things in those envelopes.
Right. So I think, speaking of thrifting board, I think their show is coming up.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we should especially not like go over on their show tonight because you're our guest.
We absolutely.
Time, and then we moved our show an hour earlier because I was too tired. But I think we got through like all the questions, and when you started talking about regional boxes, my brain, I was like, I have no idea what she's talking about. So I definitely need to learn about that. But I know all that stuff is in the thrifting board. And do we have any more? Thank you guys all for tuning in live. We are going to make this replay available. We're going to give the link to Joy. Usually we only make it available for Scanner Monkey members, but it's going to be, Joy's going to be able to post it in her community as well in the thrifting board. So are there any more questions? I did want to ask you really quick before you go, what would you say, like if you look at your total revenue, what percent comes from eBay and what percent comes from Amazon?
So last year, for the first time, I did cross the 6-figure mark, which was very exciting for me. My other big thing about last year was normally when I was working, I had to scale down in Q4 because my job ramped up in Q4. Okay. So it was very exciting to me to get to play the Q4 game this year. And last year's numbers really are about 80-20 Amazon's, heavy to eBay. Kind of by design. Like I said, I just was at a place where I was feeling overwhelmed in my personal space by eBay inventory. So this year too, it's probably heavier on the Amazon side, which is funny though, because most of the stuff I'm selling on eBay is Amazon stuff. So it's getting harder to quantify. Like even though I say that's 80-20 from last year, I did sell a lot on eBay that was Amazon inventory.
So through Joe Lister.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you so much, Joy. It was
Thanks
awesome
for having me.
Thank you for coming on, even though you had your horrendous car issue.
Always something.
Always something. That's right. So, and it was so great to get to see you again.
You too.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And I will try to get this replay posted tonight. It might not be until tomorrow. But it will be up soon on YouTube, and I hope you guys all have a lucrative and prosperous evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.